first thing we could talk about is if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into music, and maybe
Mhm.
some of your biggest musical and non-musical influences.
Yeah. So, I started like music in I think the third grade. Um, that's when I started kind of taking piano lessons, and also I believe at the same time my elementary school was like hosting this Scottish pipes and drums program at the same time. So I joined that at the same time I started learning piano. So I have some snare drum chops that I never use anymore. Yeah, that's how I started getting into music. And then, as I grew up, middle school hits, you're required to take band. So I chose the clarinet for that. And, I was just kind of like going around performing. I didn't really think too much about music as a career option. I would like, for fun, just kind of like create original compositions on the piano because, like, it seemed kind of fun. So I did it. I don't think I thought about composing as a career until high school when I was taking this electronics music class, and then my friend came up to me and said, "Oh, I have this like little web show I'm doing. Do you want to write the music for it?" And I was like, "Okay, sure, that sounds fun." And then, as I got more into that, I was like, "This is actually really cool." And now that I know that you can do this for a living, maybe I want to do this for a living. So yeah, that's how I got my start. I just, work with others. Film and video game composing is what I want to do in the future. So going to school for that now. Yay. Oh, sorry, I completely forgot. You also asked about my biggest musical influences. Um, I'd say my biggest influences are certainly Joe Hisaishi. He's the film composer for the Studio Ghibli movies. So like Spirited Away or My Neighbor Totoro. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Keaton. Those are such good movies. Honestly, my childhood and the music, it's chef's kiss. It's impeccable. It just does so much to like encapsulate the sound world so much. I love it. So yeah, that's one of my biggest musical influences for sure.
Cool. And would you say that is something that made you gravitate towards like video game and movie music, or could you describe like maybe how you found that as what you wanted to do specifically?
Yeah, I just like remember as I was, writing the music for my friend's web show, I was thinking, wow, this is really fun. Like writing all these character themes and having, these motifs that like connect directly with like a certain character on screen that just kind of like flushes out the world a bit more. I've always thought that was really cool.
What kind of web show was this? Because iCarly just got re-released on Netflix, and so like
Oh
we've
my
all
god.
kind of been watching that.
Oh man. Gosh, I'll be honest, it was like a live action Yu-Gi-Oh show. So like he had like the dual discs and everything, and like there would be clips of like, the dual discs and the Yu-Gi-Oh cards and everything. It was a fun time for sure.
That just reminded me, I found my old Yu-Gi-Oh cards like in my
Oh
closet
my gosh.
somewhere.
Did you ever actually play a game?
Oh yeah, but I was never good at it. Like I had some
Oh.
friends that were competitive. Did you ever play?
No, I didn't ever play. It looks so scary. Like, I don't know how the point system works, and then all I know about the show is that you get sent to the Shadow Realm when you lose, and that's, I don't know. It seems a little suspicious.
It was, right. They were just like banishing these little kids. They were like, "All right, bye. You're out of the show."
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
Um, Something you had mentioned made me also wonder, like, what are some of your favorite video game scores? Because you had mentioned that's also something you'd like to do.
Oh gosh. Certainly the Final Fantasy for sure. I've always been into the, the classic Japanese RPGs. They're just really fun. I mean, I feel like I gravitated towards those games because the first person shooter stuff always gave me headaches. So like, at least I could have like a character on screen that wouldn't make my head hurt every time I, saw them move around and stuff. Um, I don't know. I just really like the musical styles of it. I don't know what it is specifically about like Japanese video game music that's so different to Western video game music. Like it's just has like a magical feel to it. Like I don't know what they're doing over there, but I want in on it, you know?
All right, I guess now shifting from like your favorite video game scores, what's just some of your favorite musical experiences, like concert experiences you've had, or just like seeing a piece be performed, or just anything musical experience wise?
Yeah, from a performer standpoint, the thing that sticks out most to me is my freshman year of high school. I was playing in the pit orchestra for West Side Story. I was on the, what was it? I think it was Reed 2. I was playing clarinet and alto saxophone. And it was I didn't learn this like during the show. Gosh, I would have been a wreck if I like learned it during the show, but the first time I actually like perfected that lick in the mambo scene, that felt just so good to me because I like spent weeks working on just like perfecting it and making sure I didn't like get any wrong notes. So that just felt really good. Like once I got it down and that I would like nail it every time in the shows and like the actors would come by and be like, "Wow, that was so good. You're nailing it." I'm like that did a lot for my ego. So that felt great. From a composer standpoint, actually, recently my school brought in the Acropolis Reed Quintet, and I rearranged a wind piece that I'm currently writing for them. So they played it, and it sounded just so good, and I was just so excited about, you know, having like a piece of music that I wrote just kind of like come to life, and they did like a really good job just like translating it from like paper to sound. So it was just a really awesome time.
Could you tell us a little about that piece, maybe?
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's like still sort of a work in progress, but I finished that first movement. The whole concept of the piece is basically each movement represents like. Sorry, is everything okay? I just see you
Yeah, my cat is like on my
moving. So.
monitor right now, and I don't know what's going
Oh my
on.
god, what kind of cat is it?
This one, she's
Oh my gosh, I love her. She looks great. Sorry. Where was I? Right, the wind quintet. So each movement is like supposed to represent like a fantasy world of sorts. So this first movement was what did I title it? Elemental, the world of oracles and magicians. So the idea for that first movement was like very fast paced. A lot of like running arpeggios that would like dip like between parts and whatnot. Just kind of like a sense of like magic and like just rushing about an energy in life.
And keeping our thoughts on that piece, want to describe or would you mind sharing your compositional process for that piece, or maybe for the piece you wrote for us?
Oh gosh, my compositional process just like it's all over the place sometimes, I feel. Sometimes, I'll have like someone comes up to me with this project idea and I'll say, "Wow, that's really cool." I'll like, take that idea, develop that into something different, or sometimes I'll just take like a day, sit at a piano and just kind of like build out like a sound bank sort of. Like I'll just like come up with like motifs and licks and like maybe I won't develop it right at that second, but I'll record it, like kind of put in like compositional archives, and then one day if I'm feeling like, oh, I might want to write something funky, fresh and new, then I can head to those like already things I've already written and then work off of that so that I'm not like starting from scratch every time. um and then it's like once I like have a main idea, then I'll just kind of go through and develop it more and whatnot. Yeah, it's a good time.
Oh, go ahead.
So during the past year, making music has been a little different for all of us. How would you say that you've stayed artistically motivated? And maybe what are some ways that you've adapted as a composer and a musician in the past year?
Yeah, gosh, don't get me started on the pandemic. Really threw me for a loop, gosh. I want to, some part of me wants to say it's like dumb luck, but I should honestly give myself more credit. I think really what it is just being patient with yourself is like a big thing for sure, because like especially like students, they always have this mentality of if I'm not working, I'm not useful, and if I'm not useful, then like what's the point of everything? So it's just, I don't know, for me, like just being patient and knowing that these are different circumstances, and like if you like keep working so hard, you're just going to burn out eventually. It's important to like take breaks and everything, and just kind of understand like where you are like emotionally and like mentally and all that. So a lot of that. Also just like observation in general, like if you don't, like maybe you're just kind of like in a limbo, but when you like see another person do a cool thing, you're like, wow, I want to do a cool thing like that person. So that kind of like kicks off your own spark, and then maybe your own spark kicks off another person's spark. I don't know, like the art community just, it goes around in circles, which is really cool and thing I've always admired about that.
Yeah, I feel like social media has made this pandemic a little easier on musicians because we've still been able to absorb other people's work in a way where I can't imagine like 100 years ago what people would have done, like sitting in a house with, nothing but like no way to access what other people are doing, let alone like in the same area you live in, but also like across the world. Like I feel like I've almost absorbed more music than I normally would have in this past year because like you said, I've been forced to like take a step back. I've had no like due dates or deadlines for playing. And so instead of like always feeling like I need to be practicing, I'm like actually listening for once, and it's changed the way I've thought about like my musicianship a lot.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I totally get that.
Um, Aside from patience and like maybe just like emotional and mental awareness and stuff, are there any other skills that you maybe have learned from this time or even from school that have maybe adapted, or some skills that you wish you would have gotten or still want to get?
I don't know. Man, I think in the past I would have said like, business skills, especially, as a composer. There's only so much like luck and skill you can rely on, but I my school actually has like a really awesome like music industry and music business program, which I'm really lucky to have, which has really helped me kind of like develop those skills and also like understand how all that works in the real world, which is nice. So, I don't know. I guess I'd say like confidence, I guess, because you can like give people the skills they need to like perform this concerto perfectly or to have a very effective fanfare. But like confidence is just like a thing that you need to work on by yourself, and it's not knowledge that's just given to you. It's like a constant practice that you have to develop, and I'm still developing my own self-confidence. Everyone has their own different levels of self-esteem. So yeah, it's just that.
Um, Sometimes this is only kind of related. Sometimes people will say phrases and I write them down because they would be a really good piece title. And confidence as constant practice, I think is like just a beautiful sentiment and it encapsulates all of that. So please write a piece named that one.
Maybe that sounds like a fun piece for sure.
What else are you working on, or do you have anything coming up that you want to talk about?
Yeah. Right now, um, I'm doing this thing called the Virtual Ensemble Project. It's a collaboration with my school and the University of Hartford. Basically, we're coming together and arranging out of copyright pieces from the Library of Congress, and writing it for different like kids at different school levels. I am arranging a piece called "The Maid and the Sparrow" for elementary school choir, which I've never done before, so that'll be interesting. But I like kids enough, so hopefully that'll be a cute piece for them. What else am I doing? I am currently working with Ensemble Decipher. They're a group based out of Stony Brook in New York. Um, I'm writing a piece for them to premiere on their fall 2021 tour. it's going to be like a flex ensemble mixed with voice, mixed with electronics. So I'm currently learning pure data, so I can, figure out how to do more of those electric acoustic things because I'm also kind of interested in that.
What have you learned when working with music for younger people, like on this piece for elementary choir? Has there been anything that's like been like, oh, I can't do that, or I can do this, or this works really well?
Oh man, it's a lot of it is just like the ranges or like some maybe complicated rhythms. I'll like think to myself, oh, like this cool syncopation and accent here would sound so cool, and then I'm like, I don't know if those kids would be able to process that that well, or sight read it. And also with elementary school choir, they're younger kids, they don't really have like the developed ear as much. So I can't go ham on the piano part because, they might lose their own vocal parts if I'm not careful. So I have to, simplify everything down a bit more as opposed to if I had a high school choir, then, they'd be able to sing their own parts pretty well and then I can write whatever with the piano. So things seemed like a bit watered down, but that's a good challenge because, simple things can also be very beautiful and nice to listen to. So,
All right, got one more pretty serious question to ask before we go on to more of our less serious questions. Which animal do you prefer? Cats or dogs?
oh no. Oh man, I like both of them so much. I mean, I've actually never had a pet in my whole life. So while I love to look at animals, if you like put me in a room with one, it's like, oh my God, what do I do? Because like they're so cute and I just like want to touch them, but also I'm like very awkward and don't have a lot of experiences with animals. So it's like a look, can't touch kind of mode with them. I don't know. If I had to choose between cats or dogs, though, I'd probably say cats because they're more independent and they're more chill about, giving you your space. But I do love a good dog as well.
All right, good. We always need to know where everyone stands because all three of us own cats. I can also relate to the being awkward around other people's pets thing. I just like, I don't know, like, what should I do?
Yeah.
One of the other guys ask you another one of our
Like, can I touch them or not? Do they like that?
Oh yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
And you never know until you actually reach out. They're either going to be all nice about it or they will not be whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I don't I don't want to like make the animal uncomfortable.
Yeah, my
Like
cat like loves to give me space. Sometimes I don't even know where she is. Like right now, I can't even tell. But so like, what are some things that you like to do for fun outside of making music?
um oh gosh, that's a good question. I've recently been getting into doing visual art. I actually used to want to be an animator when I was like in middle school, so yeah, I have a bit of drawing chops under my fingers. So I don't know. I've been getting back into that because the pandemic. I have a lot of free time now, so I'm like, okay, let me try to relearn how to draw again. Maybe that'll be a good time. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of that for sure. I also play Dungeons and Dragons with my friends on the weekends, which is really fun. So sometimes, like, some chunks of my week are like, okay, this week we're going into this dungeon, or this week we're dealing with a zombie infestation. So I need to like kind of plan around these events and whatnot. Even though it's a very improv based like game, so you can't prepare for everything. But yeah, I'm the A type who's like, if I don't have this down, then everything's gonna go to chaos in the game. So
I've never played, but I just watched the Dungeons and Dragons episode of Community, and it always makes me want to like get into a group of people that play because it seems super fun.
oh yeah, it's definitely a good time. Right now I'm playing a multi-class rogue and ranger, and his name is Perry, and he's a tween, so like he's a little annoying, but he's fun to play.
What kind of animation do you do? Because it makes me think.
Uh,
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I mean, I don't do animation because I mean, I've tried animation. It's just so tedious to do, but I usually just do like standalone illustrations and
Mhm.
pieces.
Have these ever transferred to like a graphic score kind of situation?
No, it actually hasn't. I don't know. Some part of me is like intimidated by graphic scores because, like, how do you know how to do that? Like, what if like someone doesn't get it or thinks it looks weird? So I don't, I don't know. That maybe that's just like a confidence thing that I need to work on. Just trying new things and getting it out there.
I feel like if someone is gonna read a graphic score, like if they've already accepted to that part of it, then they probably know what they're gonna do.
That's fair. Yeah.
um, I think the combination of different media and a lot of what you've said already about things you're interested in and just like how it works into your work, even the piece that you had submitted for the initial call for scores, like combined, there was like electroacoustic stuff. So I just think that's a real interesting little tidbit, and it's cool to see how it all kind of comes together.
Yeah.
Speaking of media,
Everything circles around eventually, you know?
mhm. um, well, we kind of maybe have already asked this, but like other favorite movies or TV shows or podcasts or YouTube channels or any other kind of media that you like to consume, especially over the last year?
Um, Let me think. I think one of the I'm taking an accounting course right now for my minor, and they're not really doing a great job of teaching me. So there's this actually like really interesting YouTube account called I think it's like the accounting stuff or something like that. And I don't know, maybe because I'm a nerd, but I genuinely think it's very interesting just to see how like all the books are logged and like how it all connects. So that's the one I've been watching recently, more for school, but I do think it's interesting. Another one, there's this channel called Drawfee, and like what they do things like, oh, we drew Mario as like a princess, or we took like Sonic characters and then made them into humans or something like that. I don't know. It's very entertaining, and getting back into visual art, it's been big inspiration for me, especially because they do a lot of process stuff. So I can see actually how they like drew like full pieces, which is really cool.
I know for me, since last year, the beginning of COVID and all these events, I've been getting into like geography YouTube channels myself, which is kind of the segue to my question, which is what are some places you'd like to visit? Either like maybe a specific state or place in the continental US or just anywhere around the world.
Gosh, that's a hard question. I don't know. I'm just super into if you like gave me a bunch of money and said travel the world and do whatever you want, go for it. um, I don't know. I guess I've been really into caves for some reason. So I know like especially out in the West they have like a bunch of cave systems. So I don't know, maybe one day I want to just visit some caves and just hang out in that big reverberating space. Hopefully without getting trapped though, because that's the thing that happens. So fingers crossed I don't get trapped in any cave trips. Let me think. I've been wanting to visit Asia because or just tour around there in general because I have a lot of family in that area, and it's good to like connect with like your roots. I mean, I'm obviously born in America, but I've always, wanted to know a bit more about that culture and like just connect more with that cultural scene because it's a part of me, and yeah, you gotta like know a part of yourself, so.
That's really cool. I was actually adopted from Lebanon, but grew up here. Like I was adopted as a baby, so like I obviously have no recollection. And I've always thought about like going back to like Beirut or exploring Lebanon, like for personal reasons, but also like for musical reasons, like trying to figure out if there's something that would like influence the way I make music or doing something like different on the trumpet. Um, and it's really interesting. I think like people like leave that part of their life out of their head, not on purpose, but don't consider like the amount of influence it could have on them in like a positive way. And so that's really cool to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Um, so let's see. I think we covered. Oh, how about this? What music are you listening to right now? It could be like, classical type stuff or even, any genre you
Yeah.
enjoy.
Yeah. Gosh, ever since Daft Punk broke up, I've been in like an EDM like mood because yeah, I know like they were just a big inspiration to me, especially in like middle school. So I've been listening to a lot of their stuff. I've also been listening to Madeon, specifically the Adventure album. That's also one of my biggest musical inspirations for sure. Yeah, I'm just kind of clubbing in my dorm room without actually going out, listening to all those good synthy beats.
Um, I don't know. I haven't eaten yet, so I'm just really hungry. But one of our questions is about food. What are some of your favorite foods, and what um, I mean, if you could have any food right now, like what would it be?
Oh gosh, I'm so glad you guys included the food question because food is like a third passion in my life, especially in the pandemic. Like, I'm stuck at home. What am I gonna do? Oh yeah, I know. Bake like 10 loaves of bread. That'll be really interesting. So, yeah, oh gosh. I think right now what I miss the most is my mom's soy sauce chicken, which is basically like a whole uncooked like whole chicken and you put it in a pot of soy sauce and just kind of like let it cook and chill out for a little bit and like with some mushrooms and like stir fried onions and rice. It's just like it's a very simple meal, but it's like it's really good comfort food, and I just like kind of miss that right now. So I'm like, oh gosh, I just really want a chicken that's been bathing in soy sauce for a few hours right now. Yeah, I think, but like overall, my favorite food would be pho, which is like these Vietnamese like French noodles, which is just really good. Like I personally prefer noodles over rice just because I think noodles are a bit more versatile. Because you can have them wet or you can have them dry. It's noodles basically. So yeah, just I don't know. I have low standards for food though. If you put like a plate of greasy pizza in front of me, I'd still probably eat it and say it's good because, food is food and your body needs to eat anyway. So put it in you.
I really want pho now.
Yeah, gosh, it's just so good.
Oh man.
Are there any places near where you live?
Where I'm from in Texas, yeah, actually, there's like a lot. My
Right.
favorite is pho 95, and I have like this joke. It's like if there's not a number,
I
in,
know, yeah, exactly. Like if it has like the number, then it's gonna be good.
but not here, sadly.
Oh,
Not in Michigan.
yeah.
Um, ah, okay, I need
I
to quit thinking about food.
Yeah, pho is so great. I last time I had pho was with Keaton actually.
Oh,
Funny, a
really?
year and a half ago.
Wow.
I'm spoiled because I have a friend I graduated with from high school who owns a pho restaurant in town. So it's really nice. I always pay though.
Yeah,
I'm
you
never
got
like
the
asking him
hookup.
for a discount. It's just nice to see him.
Yeah.
uh, hmm. I guess another question I saw I wanted to ask though is what are things you would want to know about your favorite musicians? Just like odd, quirky things, or maybe, I don't know, just anything you'd want to know about your favorite inspirations or musicians.
Um, I don't know. I guess like um, what's your favorite food? I guess would be a good one in general to ask. Um, I guess like it'd be cool to know like, oh, what was your whole process? How'd you get from point A to point B? Like I think the other day we had violinist Jennifer Coe come in and she talked a lot about, growing up as like this violin prodigy and I thought it was just really interesting to hear about that. So, yeah, I just want to know everyone's story. Everyone has like their own unique, way of living life. So, I just kind of want to know everything.
Cool. Well, we are so happy that we got to know you a little bit more today, and we appreciate you taking the time to do this with us and for writing us a fantastic piece. And we look forward to everyone getting to